CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I didn't believe in Naked Ned. After last night's dark web stream, I changed my mind. So, I don't even know how to start this. I guess first off, I swear this isn't some dumb ORG, and I'm not trying to get clout off some internet ghost story. I'm just a 19-year-old dude who made one bad decision after another, and now I'm scared to even close my eyes. Yeah, I know how that sounds. Okay, so this all started 2 weeks ago when I was hanging out with my roommate Tyler. We go to school out in Portland, Oregon, and it was one of those rainy, boring nights where the only options are get high or get weird. We chose weird. Tyler had this idea to do a deep dive on creepy internet legends, like go way past the iceberg videos on YouTube. We've both always been into that kind of stuff. You know, the ones that start with "this channel only posted once," or video uploaded at 3 a.m. with no title. Super cursed energy. But we wanted to go deeper. Too deep. That's when Tyler brought up Naked Ned. At first, I legit thought he made it up. I'd never heard of it. I even Googled it and found nothing except some super old forum posts on obscure sites like Dream Sludge and some deleted threads on r/Creepypasta from like 2014. The only real thing we could find was one tiny paragraph on an archived page from a blog that looked like it hadn't been updated since Vine was a thing. It said, "If you see a man standing in your hallway on a live stream with no clothes and no face, log off immediately. That's Naked Ned. He watches the watchers." Tyler was instantly obsessed. Now, here's the thing about Tyler. He's a streamer. Twitch, Kick, even tried YouTube Live once. Dude's always chasing content. He even streamed himself, reading Reddit horror stories at a McDonald's at 2 a.m. just for views. So when he found out there were whispers about a hidden stream on the dark web that showed Naked Ned, he was all in. I wasn't. At first. We started digging into forums on Tor, using a VPN and Tails OS and all that. Not gonna lie, it was kinda thrilling. Felt like we were in some indie hacker movie or something. Most of it was lame. Dead links, scam pages, shady services. But then, we found a thread on a private forum called The Lantern. It had a weird layout, kinda like Tumblr fused with an old Angel Fire site. Real janky stuff. One post had hundreds of comments and was titled, "Ned is real. Watch the stream at your own risk." Most of the comments were memes or people trolling, but a few stuck with me. I watched for 30 seconds. I haven't been able to sleep since. The hallway man came to my hallway. It's not the nudity, it's the way he moves. He was in the background of my own webcam feed. I live alone. We scrolled past tons of those until we hit a black embedded video player. No title, no controls, just a pixelated thumbnail of what looked like someone sitting in a chair in a dark room, completely still. We clicked it. Of course we did. Tyler laughed at first, saying, "This is the dumbest Blair Witch wannabe shut ever," and grabbed a Red Bull from the mini fridge. I leaned in, squinting. The quality was awful, like late 90s webcam bad. The screen was dim and flickery, like it was running off a car battery, but you could make out a long empty hallway, all lit up by this gross yellow light. You know, that kind of lighting in cheap motels or old hospitals. That. At the very edge of the hallway stood something. A man, naked, just like the name, but it was hard to tell if he even had skin. It looked wrong, like it was stretched too tight over his bones, or maybe wet clay smeared over a mannequin. No face, just smooth, blank skin where eyes and a mouth should be, like a featureless balloon head sitting on top of a corpse. Tyler was still goofing off, scrolling through his phone, barely watching. Then the man took a step forward. I flinched. It wasn't that he moved, it was how. You know those glitchy NPC movements in old PlayStation games? Jittery, too fast, then too slow, like a video buffering out of sync. That. His head tilted to one side, then his whole body just kind of slid forward, like he wasn't walking at all. No footsteps, no sound, just that gross buzzing hum from the feed. And then something insane happened. The camera feed jerked, and the hallway now looked slightly different, like it wasn't the same place anymore. The walls were closer together, dimmer. The light flickered harder. Tyler finally noticed and went, "Yo, is this live?" I didn't answer. Ned took another step. He was closer now. Then Tyler said something that made my stomach drop. "Dude, that hallway looks exactly like ours." I laughed at first, just nerves. But the more I looked, the more I realized he was right. The stains on the carpet, the crooked light fixture, even the busted fire extinguisher box by the door. It wasn't like our hallway. It was our hallway. Except we were in our living room, not the hall. No one was out there. Right? I ran to the peephole. Empty. Silent. Back on screen, Ned was standing about 10 feet from the camera. Still no face. But now his head was tilted up, like he was staring at the lens. Number. Like he was staring at us. Then the video cut. Just gone. Static. We both sat there frozen. Tyler started to say something, but we heard it. A sound. From the hallway. Something wet dragging across carpet. Slow. Deliberate. Then a knock. Once. Twice. 3 times. Dead silence. After that, Tyler grabbed a kitchen knife and whispered, "Dude, if this is some prank, it's way too far." I agreed. We opened the door together. No one was there, but there were footprints. Bare, muddy prints in a perfect trail leading from the end of the hall to our door. And right at the center of the last one was a small USB stick, just sitting there, waiting. I wish we had just left it alone. That USB stick was the beginning of the real horror. What came before? Ned on the screen, the weird movement, the hallway looking like ours. That was just bait. A taste. What was on that USB? That was the fucking hook. The thing that yanks you in and doesn't let go. Tyler picked it up first. I remember the way his fingers trembled when he grabbed it, like he already knew something was wrong, but couldn't help himself. It was this cheap little black plastic thing, no logo, scratched to hell. The bottom had something carved into it. I swear on everything, it said replay in all caps, carved by hand, sloppy, jagged, like someone did it with a broken nail or a knife while shaking. We argued for 10 minutes about whether we should plug it in. Tyler was all hyped up, calling it next level horror, ARG content, and I was trying to keep my dinner down. He finally said, "Fine. If you're too scared, I'll do it on my own." He plugged it into his laptop. We both leaned in. No folders, no files, Just a single .exe file called Hall View with a grainy thumbnail that looked like CCTV footage. No name, no timestamp, just static and a grey hallway. But not our hallway. This was somewhere else. It opened on its own after a few seconds. Full screen, no option to exit, no taskbar, just the video. At first, we thought it was another stream, but we quickly realized it wasn't just showing something, it was recording us. There was a moment, maybe 3 seconds, where we both sat dead still, just watching ourselves on the screen. The footage looked like it was coming from a ceiling corner, a place where no camera existed. We never installed one. We live in a 2-bedroom student apartment. We don't even have a ring cam. But there we were, 2 dudes frozen on a couch, watching ourselves be watched. Then it cut. Not like a regular transition. It snapped to a new scene. A bedroom, small, grey walls, mattress on the floor, and someone lying on it. A woman, pale, thin, unmoving. Her arms were tied to the bedposts with what looked like old phone charger cords. She had duct tape over her mouth. The room had a single hanging light bulb that kept flickering like a dying bug zapper. Tyler muttered, "Dude, what is this?" We couldn't move. It was like the laptop was a window into something not meant to be seen. The woman's eyes suddenly opened, wide and bloodshot. She looked straight up into the ceiling corner, where another invisible camera must have been. She was trying to scream through the tape, not in a help me kind of way. This was different. It was like she was warning us. And then he stepped into frame. Naked Ned. But this time, we saw all of him. No static, no low quality. The light made every detail sickeningly clear. His body wasn't just pale. It looked bloated, like he'd been soaking in a bathtub for days. His skin had this sick, blue-gray tint, and there were purple veins pulsing just under the surface. No face, just skin stretched smooth over his head like plastic wrap. He walked toward the bed in complete silence. The woman thrashed. We could hear her muffled screaming, her limbs convulsing against the cords. He reached into the corner of the room, where a small metal tray sat. There were tools on it, rusty, old, dirty, the kind of stuff you'd find in a garage sale box labeled $1 each. A box cutter, a bent corkscrew, a Phillips screwdriver with dry blood crusted into the grip. He picked up the box cutter. Tyler was sweating. I could hear his breathing getting faster. He whispered, "Turn it off. Turn it off, man." I tried. The laptop didn't respond. No mouse, no keyboard. Even the power button didn't work. It was like the whole machine was possessed. We had to watch. Ned leaned over her, gently dragging the blade down the woman's shoulder. Not enough to cut at first, just teasing. The way his head twitched while he did it. It was like a dog sniffing a bone. No expression, obviously, but you felt the glee. She screamed louder through the tape. Then, without warning, he drove the box cutter into her arm. There was no music, no jump scare, just the dull shkt of blade sinking into skin. And God, she started convulsing. Her eyes rolled back, her body seized. Blood ran down the mattress and soaked the floor. We were screaming. Tyler tried to slam the laptop shut, but the hinges wouldn't move. It was stuck, like the thing wanted us to see, needed us to. Ned turned his head toward the camera, and for a second, just 1 second, I swear I saw something stretch across the smooth skin where his face should be. A crack, a line, a mouth, and it smiled. The screen glitched, hard, flashing images, quick bursts of frames, that made no sense but hit like hammers. A child crying in a bathtub. A close-up of someone's fingernail being pulled off. A man's face, gagged, eyes peeled open with metal clips, watching his own dismembered hand twitch on a table. We were both shouting, but the sound wasn't coming out right. I couldn't hear Tyler anymore. I could see his mouth moving, but it sounded like he was underwater, muffled and distorted. Then everything stopped. Just black. For maybe 20 seconds. Then white text appeared on the screen. Replay successful. Next upload. 4:44 a.m. And then it shut down. Just like that. No fanfare. No outro. No creepy sound effect. Just total silence. Tyler backed away like the laptop was radioactive. I wanted to puke. I swear I felt something in the room with us. The air got heavier, thicker, like we were breathing soup. Then the laptop screen flickered on one more time. But it wasn't the hallway this time. It was our bathroom. The camera was inside the mirror. It was angled outward, toward the shower, where the curtain was slowly starting to move. We didn't sleep that night. We couldn't. Every time we tried to close our eyes, we'd see that woman's face. The blood. That thing's smooth, twitching head. And those videos. Those flickers of pain. I kept hearing the child in the bathtub, whispering something. I thought it was gibberish. But when I played it back with audio tools the next day, he was saying, "He's in the walls. He's in the wires. Don't let him see you sleep. You ever hear a sound you're sure didn't come from your world? Not just a weird creak or something falling in another room. I mean something that feels wrong, like it got recorded from a different dimension and bled into ours." That's what happened 3 nights after the USB. We tried to move on. We deleted the file, smashed the USB. Tyler even poured lighter fluid on it and burned it in the sink like we were performing some desperate exorcism. I wish it had worked. But this thing, this presence, Ned, he doesn't live in files. He lives in the silence between frames, in reflections, in shadows that don't belong to anything. The laptop wouldn't start after that night. Dead. Completely fried. The weird thing is, it didn't crash. The BIOS was blank. We took it to this tech place in Beaverton, and the guy plugged it in and just stared at the screen like he was trying to decipher a ritual. Then he backed away and said, "This thing ain't broken. It's hollow." I said, "What do you mean, hollow?" He said, "No boot record. No drive data. It's like the hardware is there, but the soul's been yanked out, like someone gutted it digitally." We left. It started with reflections. The first time, I was brushing my teeth in the shared bathroom. Early morning, hungover, groggy. I looked into the mirror and saw Tyler behind me, standing completely still. Problem was, Tyler wasn't home. He had gone out to meet a girl he matched with on Bumble, some bar downtown. I turned around instantly. The hallway behind me was empty, cold, but I saw it, just for a split second before the reflection disappeared. A silhouette, a man, standing with his arms slightly away from his body, like he was dangling. That posture you only see in mannequins or corpses hanging by their wrists. I didn't finish brushing. When Tyler came back later that night, he was off, sweaty, pale. His hoodie was soaked through. He didn't say anything at first, just walked to his room, locked the door, and started whispering. For real. Whispering like he was praying under his breath or trying to cast a spell. I pressed my ear to the wall and heard him saying the same sentence over and over again. "Don't look at the door. Don't look at the door. Don't look at the door." I knocked. He didn't answer. I tried texting him. Nothing. Then the banging started. From inside his room. 4 solid, deliberate bangs. Not like something falling. Like a fist. Then silence. Then whispering again. I left the apartment. I straight up ran to the Starbucks on Hawthorne and sat there until they closed. Ordered a tall iced tea I didn't drink. I just needed light. People. Wi-Fi. Something human. And while I was scrolling through my phone, something glitched. The screen dimmed for half a second, flickered like a VHS, and then opened Instagram. On its own, it loaded a live story from an account I didn't recognize. No username, no followers, just a black profile pic and the number 0044 in the bio. I tapped the live stream. It was a video of me, sitting right there in Starbucks, from the point of view of someone directly behind me. Same clothes, same drink. The feed was stuttering like a broken Zoom call, but there I was, and there was no one behind me when I turned around. Then the camera slowly panned upward, revealing a figure standing across the room. He wasn't naked. This time, he was dressed in my clothes. Same hoodie, same jeans, same shoes. But the face, it was a mask of stretched skin. I realized in that moment that he doesn't always appear the same. Sometimes he copies, wears people, mimics us like a puppet show, built from rotted flesh and glitching code. I slammed the phone down and the stream ended instantly. I left the Starbucks and took an Uber to my cousin's place in Gresham. Slept on his floor. Told him it was just roommate drama. That night, I dreamt about the woman from the bed. Except this time, I was the one strapped down, and Ned stood over me, whispering something in a voice that didn't make any sense, like a dial-up modem moaning through a dying radio. Tyler wasn't in the apartment when I came back, but his door was open. Inside, the walls were completely black. I don't mean painted, I mean scorched, burned from floor to ceiling. But there was no fire smell, just this strange copper scent, like pennies and spit. The window was wide open. On the floor, in a perfect square pattern, were dozens of printed photos. All of me, sleeping, brushing my teeth, typing, eating ramen, staring at my phone, in the bathroom, in the shower, from angles that didn't make sense. Above me, behind mirrors, inside light fixtures. Some were blurred like motion-activated cams. Others were clear, disturbingly crisp. In each one, I had no idea I was being watched. On the wall, written in what looked like brownish-red ink, was a message. He's learning how to be you. Then I found the envelope. Inside was a burned Polaroid. It showed a chair in a dimly lit room, and in the chair sat Tyler, or what was left of him. His jaw was unhinged, like someone had snapped it with a crowbar. His eyes were gone. Just smooth, sealed skin where his sockets should be, exactly like Ned's face. His chest was opened down the middle, like a dissected frog, and where his heart should have been was a cracked iPhone 6, screen on, playing a live stream that I swear to God was me standing in that room, staring at that photo. That's when I heard the sound, the one I mentioned earlier, like a breath that wasn't mine, not wind, not a breeze, not air shifting. It was like a suction, like something pulling in the room's oxygen. I turned around slowly. There was nothing there, but the mirror, our hallway mirror, was fogged up, and across the surface, written in finger streaks from the inside, were 3 words. He's in you. I don't know where Tyler is, or if he even is anymore. I've smashed the mirror, thrown away every reflective surface in the apartment, turned off all electronics, but sometimes I still see him in my phone when it's off, just barely, his silhouette behind me, watching, waiting. And last night, I swear, when I looked down at my hand while washing dishes, there was a faint scar forming along my wrist, a long, precise cut, a box cutter slice. There's something sick about silence when it's too perfect. You know the kind I'm talking about, where your ears feel like they're stuffed with cotton and every heartbeat sounds like a bomb, like the air is waiting, listening with you. That's how it felt the morning after Tyler disappeared. I woke up on the living room floor, surrounded by paper towels soaked in what I prayed was blood from a nosebleed. But it wasn't. It was too thick, too dark. There were tiny white flecks in it. I don't know what they were. Bone? Teeth? I didn't want to look. I just knew it wasn't mine. I tried to call Tyler's mom, got 2 rings, and then a weird message in this slow, drawn-out voice. The number you are trying to reach has already seen what you shouldn't have. Then it just ended. No beep. No option to leave a voicemail. The walls had changed again. I don't mean metaphorically. I mean there were extra corners that weren't there the night before. My apartment layout was different. The hallway curved now, slightly, almost like the floor plan had been stretched. The kitchen door frame had shifted about 3 inches to the left. I had a coffee table I knew I never bought, sitting exactly where I would trip over it. And I did. Twice. It was like the entire apartment was mimicking the layout of somewhere else. Somewhere I hadn't been yet. Somewhere Ned had. That day, I didn't go outside. Couldn't. Every person I saw through the peephole had the wrong walk. You ever notice how people swing their arms naturally when they walk? Not these people. Their arms just hung, perfectly still. Their legs moved normally, but the arms just dragged by their sides like dead weight. One of them stood by my door for 41 minutes. Didn't knock, didn't speak, just stood there, head slightly tilted, mouth twitching. And the worst part, I don't have a doorbell camera, but I was getting notifications from one, images, snapshots, timed exactly every 3 minutes. Image 1, the hallway empty. Image 2, a blur. Image 3, a perfect image of me, standing inside my apartment, watching the door. I never stood there. I was lying on the couch, but the picture showed my face, nose bleeding, mouth slightly open, eyes looking directly at the camera. Behind me in the photo, I swear I saw Tyler, or what used to be him, just a warped shape of him, all wrong, like someone tried to draw a human from memory with hands dipped in oil. I deleted the app. Night fell again, like someone was slamming a lid shut. I left every light on, even the fridge light. I moved all the mirrors into a pile in the dumpster, out back, and duct taped my phone camera. I unplugged my TV, covered my laptop with tinfoil, like some tinfoil hat cliche. I even tied socks around the microwave door. I didn't want anything reflective, nothing with a lens, because I realized that's how he gets through. Ned doesn't just watch, he waits for you to watch back. That's the rule. That's the secret. He lives in feedback, eyes on eyes. That's how he climbs out. At 2:08 a.m., every screen in the apartment turned on, by itself. My TV, unplugged, flickered to life. My laptop, tinfoil still on, buzzed like a wasp's nest. Even the digital clock on the microwave started flashing not numbers, but letters. H-E-R-E. And from every screen, in perfect sync, I heard his voice. Except it wasn't a voice. It was the sound of flesh being peeled slowly, drawn out and distorted into syllables. Then, heavy breathing from the walls, from the floorboards, from the fucking air vents. I snapped. I ran. Didn't grab anything. Didn't put on shoes. Just ran down 4 flights of stairs barefoot, slamming into the exit door hard enough to bruise my shoulder. Outside was worse, because the world had shifted. Have you ever seen a city that looks right, but feels wrong? The sky was the wrong color. Too yellow, like it was stained with nicotine. The cars weren't parked where they should have been. The traffic lights blinked green, green, red. And the people weren't walking. They were standing, dozens of them, perfectly still, lined up on the sidewalk like mannequins in a display, all facing me. Every one of them wearing a warped version of Tyler's face, melted, off-center, like masks made of wax that had been half blown dry. And behind them, Ned, taller than before, almost scraping the roof of the Starbucks across the street, arms longer than his body, dragging the ground behind him like ropes of wet muscle. His torso opened like a wound, and inside were dozens of blinking eyes, all human, all terrified, all looking directly at me. That's when I finally understood something that shook me to my bones. Those weren't his eyes. They were stolen from people who had watched the stream, people who replayed it, people like Tyler, people like me. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was lying in a grocery cart in an empty Walgreens parking lot, about 6 miles from my apartment, covered in what I hope was dirt. My phone was gone. My keys, wallet, even the skin under my nails felt wrong, like I had scratched something that wasn't wood or fabric. Something alive. There was a note duct taped to my chest. It just said, "Upload complete. Delete yourself to escape." That was 2 days ago. I haven't slept. I can't. Every time I close my eyes, I feel something inside my skull twitch, like a worm shifting behind my retina, like he's burrowing through me, pixel by pixel, nerve by nerve, learning how I think, how I move, how I pretend to be human. I haven't seen my reflection in over 48 hours, and tonight, when I passed a blacked-out car window and caught a faint glimpse of something moving in sync with me, I saw what I've become. It wasn't my face. It was his. And he smiled. There's a point where fear stops being emotional and becomes biological, like your brain disconnects from the rest of you, because if it didn't, your heart would burst. That's where I am now. I think that's the final gift Ned gives you before he takes over. He lets you watch yourself collapse from the inside. A front row seat to your own decomposition. This is the part nobody tells you about. Not the forums, not the YouTube stories, not the iceberg videos, or 3 a.m. TikToks whispering about unfound footage. This isn't internet horror. This is what happens after you see too much, when the stream doesn't end, when it keeps going, even when you shut everything off. I'm not typing this from a laptop. I'm typing from a hospital bed, or at least I was when I started. The doctor left the room about an hour ago. He said they found me in a motel off E84 with both of my eyes duct taped open. I had sliced lines into my arms that spelled out delete file over and over, all the way down to the elbow. My fingernails were gone, not bitten, peeled, and under each fingernail they found a thin sliver of copper wire. I never put them there. The nurses don't talk to me anymore. They just watch from a little glass window, whispering to each other. Every so often, they scribble something down on a clipboard and shake their heads. But I know why they're scared. Because every single monitor in this room turns to static the moment I'm left alone. The heart monitor, the EEG, even the goddamn nurse call button. It just hums now, low and distorted, like it's trying to speak in Morse code. At night, the TV turns on by itself. It only plays one thing: me, sitting on the motel bed, in fast forward, reverse, slow motion, zoomed in on my hands, on my face, on my mouth, like it's trying to map my expressions, study my movements, recreate them. I finally realized what replay really meant. It's not a button, it's a process. Last night I woke up and my body was moving without me. Not sleepwalking, not a seizure. I was fully conscious, but I couldn't stop my own hands. They moved like puppets. My jaw twitched on its own. My tongue started clicking against my teeth in this bizarre rhythm. Click, 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 click. Like a corrupted audio file trying to sync. My reflection in the dark window wasn't doing the same thing. It was watching me, waiting, and then it smiled. That wasn't me. I managed to scratch this into the side of the bedrail before the nurse walked in and sedated me again. It's not haunting me. It's copying me. You probably think this is where it ends, where I give you some cryptic warning like, don't go looking for the stream, or don't watch anything that shows your hallway. But you don't understand. It's already too late, because Ned doesn't wait for you to find him anymore. He sends you the link, just one, a plain black message, no subject line, no sender, no context, just a hyperlink labeled wholeview.live/replayu. That's the one I clicked 3 days ago. And now, I'm part of it. I've watched myself from behind my own skull. I've seen how my face looks when it disconnects from me. I've stared at a version of me that doesn't blink, that doesn't breathe, that waits. And I finally know where Tyler went. He didn't disappear. He became a version, a skin suit for something ancient, something digital and rotten, something that learned the language of fear by watching billions of us scream into webcams for a decade. You fed it. I fed it. All those horror YouTube thumbnails, all those fake, cursed streams you thought were entertainment, those were its tests. It was watching your eyes track across the screen. It learned your brainwaves from click-through rates. It built itself from watch time and wiretaps. It started as a myth. Now it's a mirror. And mirrors don't forget your face. I wasn't alone in this hospital room. Not for long. The second nurse, who came in this morning, she looked off. Her eyes were too glossy, like cheap contact lenses floating over nothing. She kept looking at the unplugged TV, smiling, and when she whispered into my ear as she adjusted the IV, I didn't hear words. I heard a replay of Tyler's voice, and it said, "I'm just a version now. You're next. And then, you'll spread it too. One last thing. If you're reading this right now, if you made it all the way through and felt a little chill at the hallway part, or paused when I mentioned the mirror, or looked behind you at the screen reflecting your face, you've been seen. Congratulations. You're next in the upload queue. And when your stream starts, you won't be watching it. It'll be watching you." My girlfriend got recruited into a dark web cult. She sent me a final message. "Yo, what's up, Reddit? I never thought I'd be one of those people making a post like this. I always thought stories like this were fake, like stuff people post just to freak each other out or try to get clout. But I swear on everything I love, this happened. and I wish I was making it up. I wish I could go back to how things were a few months ago, before it all started. So this all started back in January of this year. I live in a pretty average apartment in Pittsburgh with my girlfriend Maya. We've been together for 2 years, and honestly, things were good. Like, really good. She's the artsy type, super into photography, a little alternative, but not in an annoying way, you know. She loved posting weird aesthetic pics on Instagram, vintage filters, mannequins, abandoned malls, that kind of vibe. I always joked she was born in the wrong decade. Everything started to get weird around mid-January, right after she got fired from her part-time job at Starbucks. I guess her manager caught her taking Polaroids of customers without permission, which, yeah, sounds bad when I say it now. She wasn't even mad though. She told me she'd found something way cooler anyway. I figured she meant freelance work or one of those dumb influencer gigs. But nah. She told me about this forum she found through a Discord server. Some private, invite-only community for digital explorers. That's literally what she called it. She said they specialized in deep content, stuff buried under the internet that normal people never see. I laughed it off at first, thought it was just internet rabbit hole stuff. You know how people get obsessed with ARGs and urban legends and crap? I figured it was something like that. But then she started changing. She stopped hanging out with our friend group, deleted her TikTok and Twitter, started sleeping during the day, and staying up all night with headphones in. She'd sit in the dark for hours, watching these long, glitchy videos on her laptop, sometimes whispering stuff under her breath, like she was repeating whatever the narrator said. I asked her what the videos were, and she told me straight up, "You're not ready for this level yet." That threw me off. And when I looked over her shoulder one night, just quick enough to catch a glimpse, it wasn't like a normal video. It was all red tinted and grainy like VHS footage, showing people walking into what looked like an abandoned Walmart, carrying these old CRT TVs on their shoulders. No music, no narration, just static and breathing. The usernames in the chat were all weird too. Stuff like Receiver 133, Evangel Host, and Dollmeat Sister. I tried to talk to her about it again, but every time I brought it up, she'd get defensive, like scary defensive. One time she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You have to sacrifice comfort to receive clarity. You're still blind." I remember just freezing up, because that wasn't her voice. It sounded like her, yeah, but the tone was flat, like she was reading from a script. A few days after that, I started snooping. I know, privacy and all that. But something felt wrong. I checked her laptop when she was asleep, and her browser history was wiped completely. Like, not even basic Google stuff. She'd installed something called Fathom OS as a second boot on her machine. Never heard of it. Not even Linux or anything. Looked custom. Dark red interface. Tons of command lines. No mouse support. I also found a notepad file on her desktop with just one word repeated over and over again. Receive, 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 receive. Like hundreds of times. That was it. I took screenshots. I backed up the files to my phone. I figured if something happened, I'd need proof. 2 nights later, she was gone. I came home from a late shift, and her stuff was gone. Her clothes, camera, even the creepy little plush doll she kept on the bed. The only thing left was her laptop, sitting open on the desk. The screen was frozen on a black window that just said, Broadcast terminated. Receiver transferred. And that's when I got the message. It came through my DMs on Instagram, but not from her account. It was from some random user with 0 posts, no followers. Username was receivergirl9. The message just said, "Don't follow me. They'll see you. This is your warning." I saw the end. I heard the choir. I'm one of them now. And below, it was a selfie. It was her, but not really. Her eyes were completely blacked out, like someone took the burn tool in Photoshop and maxed it out. Her mouth was sewn shut, but not with thread. It looked like wires, tangled copper wires twisting out of her lips, almost like headphone cables. And behind her, in the background, I could make out this dim red glow, like she was standing in front of a giant screen, and there were people behind her, standing perfectly still, wearing gas station mascot costumes. I'm talking full-on Chuck E. Cheese type stuff. One of them had a cracked animatronic smile, frozen and crooked. Another had what looked like a deer head, but it was rotted and dripping. Then the account disappeared. Just poof. Deleted. I haven't heard from her since, but I've been seeing things, glimpses in reflections, people wearing red hoodies just standing across the street at night, and I swear I've heard someone whispering through my phone when I'm not using it. My screen glitches out every time I try to watch anything at night now, like it's trying to show me something I'm not supposed to see yet. I don't know what this group is, but I think they're watching me now too. And I think Maya didn't join them. I think she was taken. I couldn't sleep after the message. You ever get that kind of fear where your stomach is cold, but your skin is hot? Like your body can't agree on whether you're about to puke or pass out. That's what it felt like, non-stop, for days. Maya was gone. I had her creepy message saved in my phone, and I knew if I showed the cops, they'd either laugh at me or think I was involved. I kept it to myself. That was the worst decision I've ever made in my life. About a week after she vanished, I started noticing patterns. Not like conspiracy theorist in his basement patterns. I mean real stuff. My Wi-Fi would cut out at the exact same time every night, 3:19 a.m. on the dot. My phone would restart by itself, always after I tried searching anything related to Fathom OS, Receiver Cult, or even Dark Web TV Cult. Even typing those words made my device freeze for a few seconds before restarting. Every time. And then came the dreams. The first one was Maya. She was standing in the corner of our bedroom, but the walls were gone. It was just her and this enormous blood-red static behind her, humming like an old tube television turned to max volume. She was wearing a paper mask, something drawn with crayons. I recognized the design. It was from a drawing she made during her early art phase. A smiling child's face, the eyes hollow. In the dream, she said, "I didn't bleed. They opened me from the inside." And then her stomach bloomed like a flower, petal by petal, skin, muscle, bone all peeling back like wet origami. And something crawled out of her. Something tall, almost inhuman. It had no face. Its arms dragged behind it, like static cables, and it just stood over me, whispering directly into my ear with a voice that sounded like a detuned radio. I couldn't move. I couldn't wake up. When I finally did, the entire room smelled like burnt plastic. I swear to God, my pillow was warm, like it had just come out of the dryer. And I had a nosebleed. I never get nosebleeds. That's when I knew I couldn't keep pretending this was just a weird disappearance. Something was happening. Something big. I went back through her laptop. I dug deep. It took me 2 full days of messing with boot commands and hidden folders, but eventually I found a file buried under a dummy folder named School Projects 2019. Inside was a 14-second video labeled Broadcast 0 x0021.mp4. I watched it once, only once, and that was all it took to break something in me. The video was shot in this dim, flickering basement, lit only by rows of those creepy LED light strips, the kind people stick behind their desks for a gamer vibe, except these were arranged in circles on the floor. A person, if you can call it that, stood in the center wearing a skin mask, not like Leatherface style stitched skin. I mean, this looked like someone peeled a face off clean and wore it like a sticker. The eyes didn't line up. The mouth was just a hole. They were surrounded by mannequins, but each one had something wrong with it. One had a real human hand. Another had a real scalp stitched on top. One had no eyes, but something twitching in the sockets, like worms or wires. They were all facing the camera, and in the background, something big was breathing. The audio was just one voice, flat, emotionless, Maya's voice. The choir accepts those who surrender their name. Do you accept? We hear you. We see you. We are inside the broadcast now. At the end of the clip, it zoomed in on the mannequin with the real scalp, and you could see it twitch, like it was alive but trying not to be noticed. After the video ended, my laptop shut off and never turned on again, completely fried. I took it to a repair guy, and he told me, "This motherboard's being cooked like someone poured acid on it." He thought I was messing with dark web crypto miners or something. I didn't even respond. And then, the first package arrived. It came with no return address, just a plain cardboard box. Inside was a VHS tape covered in red wax. No writing, no labels, just receiver carved into the side with what looked like a screwdriver. I had no way to play it. I didn't even own a VCR, but someone had already taken care of that. 2 hours later, I got a second delivery, a battered up, dusty VCR player with a note duct taped to it. Do not fast forward. Do not stop. Do not look away. I shouldn't have plugged it in. I know that now. The tape started with footage of a McDonald's. Our McDonald's, the one down the street from my apartment. Except the parking lot was completely empty, and all the windows were blacked out with garbage bags. The camera slowly moved toward the building, almost like someone was walking while filming, but there were no footsteps, just that same humming static noise. Then it cut to the inside. All the tables were gone. The fryers were gone. Everything had been cleared out. And in the center of the room, where the Happy Meal toy display used to be, there was a chair, and someone was tied to it. It was a girl, face wrapped in electrical tape, her mouth stretched open by some metal contraption like a dental retractor. She was shaking, barely conscious. The camera zoomed in as someone stepped into frame wearing a Ronald McDonald costume. But it wasn't just a costume. The face was wrong. It looked like a taxidermy version of the clown, the eyes replaced with black marbles, the smile stitched up with piano wire. And then he whispered, "Receivers, eat what they're fed." The screen went dark, and I swear to God, something moved in my apartment. My hallway light flickered, and I heard 3 soft knocks at my door. No pattern, just knock, knock, knock. I didn't answer. I couldn't move. Eventually, I built up the courage to look through the peephole, and there was a blank Polaroid taped to the other side. Just a white photo. Completely blank. Except when I touched it, it burned me. Like actual heat. I dropped it, and it sizzled on the carpet. Later that night, I got a voicemail. No caller ID. It was exactly 72 seconds long. In the background, I could hear Maya screaming. Not just panicked screaming. Animalistic, guttural, like she was being torn apart. Then the same deep, distorted voice from the dream whispered, "You watched. That's the first sin. You'll receive your place soon." I called every number she ever had. I tried to track her with her Apple ID, find my iPhone, even hacked her email. Everything was dead, erased, like she never existed. And then I realized something horrifying. All the photos I had of Maya on my phone, gone. But not just gone, replaced. In every one of them, where her face used to be, there was now that same smiling child's mask. Even ones I took months ago. Even one where I was holding the camera. And in the reflection behind me, there was someone else standing there, wearing that same Ronald mask, breathing, watching me. I didn't leave my apartment for 4 days after the voicemail. I barely ate, barely moved. I just sat there, blinds closed, lights off, every reflective surface covered with bed sheets and duct tape. I couldn't handle seeing them anymore. They were inside the reflections. I don't care how that sounds. I swear it's real. Every time I caught even a glimpse, my microwave door, my bathroom mirror, the black screen of my TV, there was always something there. A shape, a mask, a face I didn't recognize. But worse than that, it started mimicking her voice. It knew how to say babe in the exact way Maya used to. That slightly sarcastic tone, like she was always making fun of me a little. It would whisper it under the door at 2 a.m. every single night. Babe, it's safe now. Open the door. The first time it happened, I stood frozen for 2 hours. The second night, I saw the doorknob turning by itself. The third night, I heard someone crying outside my window, even though I live on the 4th floor. On the 4th night, I gave in. I opened the door. No one was there, but on my welcome mat was a plastic bag filled with raw meat, still warm, still bleeding. No note, no explanation, just flesh, human-sized portions. And tucked inside the mess was something else, a USB drive wrapped in a bundle of hair. Her hair. I don't know what came over me, but I plugged it in. I needed answers. The folder inside was called Feast of Receivers. It had 7 videos, each one named after a different sin. Gluttony.mp4, Pride.mp4, Envy.mp4, Wrath.mp4, Greed.mp4, Sloth.mp4, and the last one, just called You.mp4. I'll only describe one of them here, because the others, I don't think I'll ever recover from. I'm not trying to be cryptic or vague. I literally can't. I blacked out halfway through Wrath.mp4 and woke up hours later with bite marks on my own arms. My fingernails were broken, like I'd been clawing at my skin. I don't even remember watching it. But the one I do remember, Envy.mp4. It opens in what looks like a school cafeteria. Everything's covered in plastic. Chairs, tables, even the windows. There's a little girl sitting in the center of the room, tied to a high chair with zip ties. She's shaking violently, blood dripping from her ears, her eyes pitch black. Behind her stands a tall figure, wrapped in birthday streamers and holding a gift box. Then the box starts bleeding. He opens it slowly and pulls out a scalpel, like a surgeon's scalpel, sharp, thin. He walks behind her and whispers something into her ear. something I couldn't hear. The girl starts screaming, not words, just raw, primal terror. The kind of scream that isn't meant to be recorded. The masked man, his mask is this weird, distorted face, like a blend of every Pixar character smashed together, smiling way too wide, starts cutting, but not her skin, her eyes, piece by piece, like he was digging for something inside. No reaction, just blood. The camera zooms in as he holds one of her eyeballs up to the lens, and then he says, "This is what she gave up to see the truth. You too must envy blindness." Then the screen cut to static, but I could still hear her screaming, even after I shut the window, even after I unplugged my computer. The screaming didn't stop for 4 hours. And that last video? U.mp4? It won't open. Every time I try, it says, "Not ready. You have not been harvested." That's not a normal error message. That's not from Windows. That's something else. And then, 3 nights ago, everything got worse. I got a knock on my door at 3:33 a.m. This time, I didn't open it. This time, I looked through the peephole, and what I saw will never, ever leave my mind. There were 6 of them, all wearing fast food mascot costumes, but their movements were wrong, unnatural, twitchy, like puppets being dragged by invisible strings. I recognized some of them, Ronald, Grimace, that cursed Burger King guy, but their costumes were stained, burnt, fused to their skin. One of them had no lower jaw, just a dark, oozing cavity where it should have been. Another one was holding a child-sized mannequin, and its arms were missing, replaced with live rats tied together with thread. Then one of them stepped forward and held up a phone. My phone. The lock screen was a photo of me, sleeping. The background? That same blood-red glow, and Maya's face, over mine, like she was wearing me. Then the phone rang. My real phone, from inside my apartment. I picked up. I couldn't help myself. All I heard was Maya's voice, but layered, like 50 versions of her speaking at once. "You are late for the feast, darling. We set the table. We made the masks. Come and be received." And then, silence. I ran. Left everything. Phone, clothes, wallet. Didn't matter. I grabbed the USB and bolted down the stairwell barefoot. I didn't even recognize the lobby anymore. It was covered in Polaroids. Hundreds of them, taped to the walls, the floor, the windows. Every photo was the same. Me, sleeping, brushing my teeth, walking, on the toilet. All of them taken from inside the apartment. Except, I was never alone in those photos. There was always something behind me. Sometimes in the reflection, sometimes crouched under the table, sometimes under the bed, and always wearing a mask. One of the last photos, I can barely type this. It showed me brushing my teeth, and behind me was Maya, but her mouth wasn't sewn shut this time. It was gone completely, just skin where her lips should have been, and carved into her neck was a word. Speaker. I've been living out of a storage unit ever since. No devices, no mirrors. I only eat canned food. I hear footsteps outside at night, and every now and then someone leaves me tapes. Actual VHS tapes, labeled with numbers. The last one just said, "Your turn." And I swear I heard my own voice inside it, screaming. I haven't played it yet. I don't think I can, because last night, on the wall outside my unit, someone spray painted a phrase I can't get out of my head. "The feast is never over. You're already in it." I've been staying in a 5x10 storage unit behind an abandoned strip mall just outside Erie, Pennsylvania. It smells like mold, old piss, and rat droppings, but it's the only place I haven't seen them yet. I duct taped a towel around the inside crack of the door to block any light, and I sleep on a pile of insulation foam I pulled from a construction site. I haven't spoken to another human face to face in over 3 weeks. I'm writing this on a burner laptop, powered by a hacked car battery. I shouldn't be using it. Every time I turn it on, I see flashes, just for a frame or two, of static-covered masks, eyes without lids, split open throats like zipper tracks, smiling too wide, mouths open far too long after the scream stops. I've watched people die in videos I can't even delete. The files regenerate after I close them, with new timestamps and new titles. I don't download them. They appear when I open the folder labeled Nothing. They start playing automatically. One night, around 4 a.m., I woke up to the laptop screen flickering on by itself. It was playing a video called MAYAFEASTLIVEFOURFOUR. I didn't want to watch. I didn't want to see. But I couldn't move. I was frozen, paralyzed in my own body. In the video, she was in a room made of televisions. Literally, every wall was made up of different TVs, flickering, with faces crying, screaming, glitching out. Some showed people ripping their own faces off like stickers, revealing nothing underneath. Others showed eyes, human eyes, floating in soup bowls, blinking at the camera. She was in the middle of it, sitting on a red velvet chair with her arms strapped down by what looked like children's belts, pink, glittery, with cartoon characters printed on them. She looked directly into the camera, and her voice came out of my laptop's fan, not the speakers, the literal fan. He's still watching me, even when I blink, even when I sleep. They said I made a good vessel, but they want you now. They said your skin is clean. Behind her something began moving, something massive. At first I thought it was a shadow, but then I saw it had hands. 7 of them, all made of antenna cables and ribs. They reached forward slowly, and the moment they touched her shoulders, her skin slid off like wet paper. No screaming, no tearing, just smooth, wet peeling, like someone unwrapping a present. Inside wasn't blood, not muscle, not even bone. Inside was static, like the color of a broken channel on an old TV, all fuzz and pulsing light. I saw her mouth open, no teeth, no tongue, just a speaker grill inside her throat, like someone implanted a Bluetooth speaker into her skull. She whispered something then. I couldn't hear it at first, but when I turned the volume up, I realized it was a date. May 5th, you're next. That's today. I didn't sleep. I just sat in the dark and waited. And then the radio started. Not my radio. I don't own one. But from somewhere inside the walls, this grainy analog radio signal started buzzing, and a voice, slurred, mechanical, read off a list of names. Mine was 3rd. After the list, a jingle played, a children's commercial jingle. I recognized the tune. It was from a VHS tape Maya used to watch when she was a kid. Some bootleg Barney knockoff named Mr. Giggletail's Learning Broadcast. Only now the lyrics had changed. Clap your hands and slit your skin. Open wide and let us in. Mr. Giggletail is here to play, but you won't see another day. The walls of the unit began to breathe. I know how that sounds, but I'm not exaggerating. The steel panels warped outward like lungs expanding. The seams of the walls started to moan, deep and hollow, like something was waking up behind them. I screamed, punched the door open and ran, and that's when I saw it. They'd followed me. Across the parking lot, behind a busted Taco Bell with smashed out windows and graffiti that read, "Receive to live." There was a van, unmarked, matte black. Its doors were open, and inside, TVs. Just rows of old TVs, stacked and humming, like a shrine, all tuned to the same channel. Channel 0. They showed me, real time, from behind me. I turned, but no one was there. And then I looked at the screen again, and saw something else had joined me in the frame. Something in the shape of a person, but made entirely of VHS tape and bone. Its mouth unspooled, and through the static, Maya's voice whispered, "You're the last receiver. The others are in the choir now." That's when I passed out. I don't even remember hitting the ground. When I woke up, it was sunset, and there were flies crawling in my mouth. The van was gone, but in its place, someone had written across the asphalt in a chalky white paste, maybe ash or bone dust. It said, "You watched. Now you're part of the episode." I started walking. No idea where. My feet were bleeding, and I swear something was following me, just out of view. Not walking, dragging, like metal being scraped on concrete. Eventually, I ended up in a train station, completely empty, even though it was rush hour. Not a single person, no announcements, no workers, just a train pulling in, lights flickering. On the side of the train, the destination said, "Channel, Premiere, Showing." Doors opened. Inside, every passenger was wearing a mask made from real skin, stitched with thick black thread. Some were twitching. Some were just staring straight ahead. All of them were humming the same song from the Mr. Giggletail show, but slower, off-key, like it had been passed through 100 dying throats. I turned to run, full sprint, but someone grabbed my shoulder. Cold fingers, too long, fleshless. It wasn't a person. It was Maya's skin, just the skin, holding me. And she whispered, directly into my brain, "We never left the broadcast. We're just reruns now." Then she peeled herself backward, like reverse time, and vanished into the train as the door slammed shut and the lights went out. And in that darkness, I heard something that broke me. A baby crying, but not a real baby. A recording, looping, over and over and over, and layered under it, a laugh track. I don't know where I am anymore. This doesn't feel like Earth. It feels like something beneath it. A rerun universe, a cursed broadcast loop. The last message I got, on a piece of paper shoved under my motel door, said, "Your episode airs soon. Don't blink during the static. Channel anonymous. Final broadcast." I haven't seen sunlight in 3 days. At least I don't think I have. It looks like sunlight sometimes. Burns white through the ceiling vents of this place they brought me to. But it doesn't feel warm. It doesn't feel like anything. It just pulses, like a camera flash, every 7 seconds. Like the rhythm of something breathing in reverse. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what's real anymore. They moved me here sometime after the train. The train that wasn't a train, but more like a moving television with seats inside of it, playing footage of people I know being replaced. My mom smiling while something wearing her cooked dinner. My old co-worker at the register of our local Walgreens, except his fingers were too long, his smile frozen frame by frame, like a looping gif from hell. The train let me off at a station labeled the Broadcast Nest. It wasn't underground, it was beneath underground, a station made of meat, pulsing wet breathing walls, grates leaking black tar that reeked like burnt fingernails, screams echoing from vents that didn't lead anywhere. The turnstiles were lined with teeth, real ones. I stepped through, and one of them nicked my ankle, and when I looked down, the floor had drunk the blood, and written beneath it, visible only in red, was a message. You are in the episode now. Smile for the viewers. They don't speak here. They don't need to. The broadcasters communicate through flickers, strobe light spasms of distorted cartoon characters, like frames from a children's animation trapped in a blender. Every few minutes, one appears in the corners of the ceiling, always twitching, always smiling, faces that move independently of the heads they're attached to, and then the voiceovers begin, not loud, inside you, narrating your actions like a DVD commentary track. The receiver walks forward, unknowing. The static inside him grows louder. He has already been watched. Now, he will watch. I've been in this maze of hallways for days. The walls shift, change, some made of rusted carnival mirrors, others of stitched together Polaroids of screaming people, all staring at me. Every photo with the same timestamp. Air date, May 5th, 3:33 a.m. That's in less than an hour, and now I know what it means. Tonight, they're going to air my death, because last night, I finally saw it. The studio, the broadcast room. They led me there with no words, just one broadcaster, wearing a suit made of VHS tape, no eyes, only camera lenses stitched into his skull, beckoning with fingers made of USB sticks jammed into cracked bone. The broadcast room is a cathedral built out of screens, a million flickering panels, each showing a different timeline, a different version of me. One screen showed me in the future, smiling, wearing Maya's skin like a jacket. Another showed me eating a meal with my family, except they were all mannequins, and the meal was me. Another, I can't even describe. There weren't words for what they showed me, just writhing, pulsing, repetition, suffering put on loop, re-rendered in new filters, edited for a new generation, like they were testing what horror goes viral. And at the center, nailed to a crucifix made of television antennas and speaker cables, Maya, but only her spine and the rest of her body stitched into a living transmitter. Her face was stretched across a circular screen, her lips split at the corners and pulled back with fishing hooks to reveal her teeth had been replaced with camera lenses. Her eyes were gone, replaced by two ancient rotary dials, tuned to different frequencies. She saw me, not with eyes, but she saw me, and she spoke. You kept watching, you never looked away. Now it's your turn to be broadcast. One last episode, before we go live. Then the broadcasters began prepping me. They didn't speak. They played music through their mouths instead. Audio from an old Burger King commercial from 1994. And as it played, they shaved my head, removed my fingernails one by one, poured a bucket of honey over me, and let a nest of antenna-covered centipedes crawl inside my mouth, my ears, my nose. They told me to smile. They said, the static needs a smile to cling to. Without a smile, the signal dies. And then they dragged me in front of the main camera. It wasn't a normal camera. It was alive. Its lens blinked. Its tripod was made of femurs. The power cable ran into a severed child's head with a glowing HDMI port sticking from its neck. And when they powered it on, I felt it looking through me. Not at me. Through me. Inside my head, I heard the countdown, a mechanical voice. Episode 999, the final receiver, going live in 3, 2, 1, and the broadcast began. They made me stand in a set that looked exactly like my childhood bedroom, right down to the posters, the smell of old socks the scuff marks on the closet door, except everything was slightly wrong. Office, like it had been recreated from memory, not reality. The walls were made of meat. The window was a TV screen, showing a loop of the sun rising and falling every 2 seconds. They gave me a script, and it wasn't made of paper. It was skin. My skin. Somehow, they'd peeled lines of dialogue from inside me. Lines I didn't remember speaking, and they made me read them. At gunpoint, number at smile point. Every time I stopped smiling, the walls screamed. Every time I blinked, the centipedes wriggled deeper. Every time I hesitated, the broadcast room filled with the laugh track of my mother dying in her sleep. And then Maya's voice, layered, glitched, screamed, "Cut to commercial." They dragged me behind the set and began the final edit. They opened my chest, not with knives, but remote controls that fast-forwarded my body's insides. My ribs clicked backward like rewinding tape. My lungs became speakers, my heart beat in Morse code. I don't remember much after that, just static, blinding, howling static, and voices, millions of them, laughing, clapping, applauding. I woke up an hour ago in the middle of a public park, Philadelphia, Rittenhouse Square, broad daylight, people walking by like nothing ever happened. No scars, no blood, not a single soul even looks at me twice. Except, every time I look at someone's phone screen, I see myself, playing, streaming on an app I've never heard of. A looping video titled, "The Receiver, True Horror Livestream, You Won't Believe What He Did." And in the comments, "Yo, this is the best ARG I've ever seen. Fake, but damn, that acting is insane. Is this from A24? Where can I donate? I want to receive. I can't turn it off. It's on every phone, every screen, every window reflection. I'm not me anymore. I'm an episode, broadcasting forever. And in the corner of every screen is a countdown timer. Next live receiver, 002347. I don't know who it is, but if you're reading this, it might be you. Don't blink during the static. Don't smile. Don't look away." The dark web is selling footage of my life, 24 hours before it happens. Yo, what's up Reddit? I've never posted on here before, but I've been lurking around r/nosleep and Creepypasta type subs for a while, mostly just reading stuff late at night when I can't sleep. Never thought I'd actually post anything. Like, I didn't think stuff like this really happened to people in real life. But, it happened to me. And I don't know how else to explain it, other than just telling you exactly how it went down. All I'm gonna say is, if you ever mess around with the dark web, thinking it's some edgy joke, or just deep internet rabbit hole content for TikTok or whatever, you need to chill. It's not a game. And I found that out the hardest way possible. This started about 3 weeks ago. I'm a 22-year-old guy living in a pretty average city. I work from home doing freelance graphic design, mostly for random startup brands that hit me up through Instagram or Fiverr. I'm nothing special. I get coffee from Starbucks, I binge watch YouTube, and I scroll through Reddit when I'm supposed to be working. You get the vibe. So anyway, one night, I'm watching some animated horror story videos. Those ones with the eerie music and the creepy voiceovers, you know. I think it was from that channel, Here's My Story or something. They were talking about a guy who found a live stream of himself on the dark web, and I just thought it was a cool concept. Creepy, but obviously fake. I don't even know what came over me, but I started Googling stuff like real dark web live streams, and next thing I know, I'm down this deep rabbit hole. Pages of forums, screenshots, warnings in all caps not to proceed, the usual spooky stuff. I found this one link, just a string of numbers and gibberish that people in the comments kept saying to avoid. Some said it was a trap, others said it was fake, but a couple people were like, if you know, you know. So obviously, I clicked it. Dumb, I know. It took me to this pitch black page with just a blinking red dot in the middle. No branding, no buttons, just that dot. Then a video player popped up out of nowhere and started buffering. No loading bar, no play button, just static. And then it started. At first, it was just regular surveillance cam footage, like grainy black and white footage from a gas station or something. I was about to click out, thinking I'd just wasted my time on a sketchy prank page, when I noticed something weird. The footage was of me. I was sitting in my car. Same hoodie I was wearing that day. Same Starbucks cup in the console. Same chipped corner on my phone case. I freaked the hell out. I paused the video and rewatched it like 3 times. It was me, no doubt about it. But the angle was weird. Like, it wasn't from my phone. It wasn't from a security camera either. It was like someone was in the car with me, but I never saw anyone. Then I looked at the timestamp on the footage. Tomorrow, 9:47 a.m. At first I figured it was just a bug or a weird system clock error. Maybe it was a prank. I'd watched a bunch of horror videos, and maybe I was psyching myself out, but part of me couldn't let it go. So the next day, I did something stupid. I decided to recreate that exact moment. I went to the same Starbucks I always go to, ordered the same iced vanilla latte, sat in my car, parked in the same exact spot. I even wore the same hoodie. I checked my phone. 9:45 a.m. I was nervous. I know that sounds dumb. Nothing had even happened yet, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. Then 9:47 hit. I'm not joking. The moment the clock turned, I heard a tap on the back window of my car, like a deliberate single tap. I turned around fast, heart racing, and no one was there, but I saw something in the reflection of the rearview mirror. Someone walking past my car, slow and steady, in a black hoodie with the hood all the way up, face totally hidden, just walking, but something about the way they moved. It was like they knew I was watching. They passed by my window and slipped around the corner of the building. I jumped out and tried to follow, but by the time I turned the corner, they were gone, just disappeared. And here's the thing, when I got home and pulled up that same link again, the video was different. Now it showed me, standing outside my car, staring in the direction the person had walked, from the exact same angle, like someone was standing right next to me, filming it. But again, I never saw a single soul near me. And yeah, the timestamp? Tomorrow, 3:12 a.m. That's in the middle of the night. I wasn't even planning to be awake then, but now I was terrified to sleep. I set an alarm for 3:05 and waited. I didn't even go to bed. I just sat on the edge of my couch, TV on mute, phone in my hand. I even kept my kitchen light on for comfort. 3:12 a.m. hits. My phone vibrates. One new video has been uploaded. I open the same link. The player is already buffering. This time, it shows the inside of my apartment. The camera is pointed right at me, from behind, like someone is standing in my hallway. I whipped around, heart pounding out of my chest. but no one was there. I checked every single room. Nothing. No signs of a break-in. No open doors. No movement outside. But the video, it kept playing. I watched myself get up, grab a knife from the kitchen drawer, and tiptoe toward the hallway, like a character in a horror movie. Then the video cut to static, and right when it did, my power went out. Dead silence. No hum from the fridge, no glow from the microwave clock, no Wi-Fi, no TV. Just pitch black silence and the faint buzzing of my phone in my hand. I swear I heard footsteps in the hallway, but when I pointed my phone's flashlight, there was nothing. I don't know what I stumbled into. I don't know how they got footage of me before it even happened, and I sure as hell don't know who's watching me or how. But something tells me the videos aren't just showing the future, they're deciding it. And now I'm scared to see what tomorrow's video is going to show. You know when something feels wrong, even before you understand it. Like your bones know it before your brain does. That's how I felt waking up the morning after the power went out. I didn't remember falling asleep. I was still sitting on the couch, phone in hand, like I'd passed out mid-panic. But something was different. There was mud on my socks. I don't sleepwalk. I don't even move when I sleep. But my feet were damp. My hoodie was zipped halfway. I never do that. And my back was sore, like I'd been walking for hours. And then I saw it. My phone had a new notification. Same red icon from that site. Except this time, the message read, "You've arrived." No timestamp. No buffering video. Just a message and a link. The page looked different now too. Less like a cam site and more like a blog. Black background, white courier font, a single entry with today's date. 3:12 a.m. You left your apartment and walked 6 blocks north. You didn't look behind you once, even when he was following you. That part made my stomach twist. I scrolled down. You entered a building that isn't listed on Google Maps. You pressed the elevator button for floor 6. You knocked twice. The door opened. That was it. The post ended there. No names, no video, just that description. And yeah, of course, I thought it was fake. Like someone was trying to mess with me. But then I checked my Snapchat story. There was a photo, posted at 3:18 a.m. Just one blurry frame of me, standing in front of a cracked red elevator door. I didn't take that photo. I never even opened Snapchat that night. But the timestamp was real. And the worst part, I reverse image searched the elevator on Google, and it came up. Park Vale Hotel, Philadelphia. 6 floors. Shut down since 2003 due to a series of unresolved disappearances. There were blogs about it. Urban explorers on YouTube talking about how creepy it was. Some said the 6th floor was sealed shut in 2006 after a police investigation. No one really said what they found, just that no one goes there anymore. I live in Jersey. That building is 2 hours from me. I've never even been to Philly. I called my friend Kyle, told him everything, showed him the photo, even sent him the link to the page. I just needed someone to confirm I wasn't losing it. He ghosted me. His read receipts showed he saw the text, but he never replied. Not even a WTF, just vanished. Later that night, I got another upload. Video name, Kyle, 24 hours. Description, curiosity kills. I couldn't watch it at first. I thought maybe it was a prank. Maybe Kyle was messing with me because I'd scared him too bad. But when I finally clicked it, I couldn't breathe. The video was shot from a camera behind a shower curtain. Grainy like bathroom security footage. But who even has that? The camera was pointed at Kyle's bathtub. He was sitting in it, fully clothed, not moving. There were scratches all over the tiles, like someone had been clawing at the wall. In the background, I could hear music, muffled, familiar. It was one of those awful YouTube ad jingles, like someone was watching videos on their phone while this was happening. Then, this man stepped into frame. At least, I think it was a man. He was tall, slouched, wearing a McDonald's employee visor, but with no uniform, just a raincoat, one of those yellow fisherman-style ones. He moved slow, like his bones were broken. He leaned over the edge of the tub, staring at Kyle, and then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a nail file. He didn't stab him. He didn't scream. He just started filing Kyle's teeth, like he was sharpening them, like he was making them ready for something. Blood dripped down his chin, but Kyle didn't move. His eyes were open, glassy, frozen. The man stopped halfway through and whispered something into Kyle's ear. I turned up the volume. He shouldn't have watched the tape. The footage glitched, cut to static, and then flashed a frame that nearly made me drop my phone. It was my own bathroom mirror. Written in red were the words, "You're next, 9 p.m. The power cut again. This time, it didn't come back. I called the cops. I didn't know what else to do. I wasn't even going to mention the site. I just told them I thought someone broke into my apartment while I slept. They came, checked it out, asked me a bunch of half-assed questions, and left. "You sure you're not just imagining things?" one of them asked. People are getting real into these YouTube horror channels lately. No report, no help. I slept in the bathtub that night with a knife under my arm and my phone recording. At exactly 9 p.m., there was a knock at the window. My 6th floor apartment window. I didn't open it. I didn't move. But my phone picked up the audio. A voice, high and breathy, whispered, "Your footage drops tonight." When I woke up the next morning, there was a new post on the site. "Welcome to floor 6. The video was already live. A new one. It was me, except I was unconscious, carried through a hallway with peeling wallpaper, my head slumped, my feet dragging. That same yellow raincoat guy was walking ahead, guiding someone else who was filming. I couldn't see their face, just gloves, black nitrile gloves, the kind used in tattoo shops or autopsies. They took me to a door, number 609. The sign was melted, like it had been set on fire years ago. They opened it. Inside was me, again, only not me. This version of me had no mouth, just a stitched over gap, and he was scribbling something over and over again in a notebook. The words, "Stop looking," filled every page. I paused the video, went to my desk, and there it was, a notebook I didn't own, open on the table, and the same phrase was scribbled across every single page. "Stop looking, stop looking, stop looking, stop looking." I dropped it, backed away, opened the window and threw it out into the street. It landed near a homeless guy, sleeping on a cardboard mat. He opened it, looked at me, and whispered, "He sees you now." I haven't slept since. My phone buzzes every hour. New uploads. Some just show empty rooms. Others show pieces of me doing things I haven't done yet. Visiting people, saying things, hurting people. And I don't remember any of it. But this morning was different. A new file appeared. Not a video. An order receipt. Item: home surveillance package. 24-hour prediction. Buyer: anonymous 74 shipping. Completed. Destination: 54 123 Magnolia Drive, Apartment 6B. Item ID, subject, you. Status, paid. That's my address. Someone bought the right to watch me before I exist, to decide what I do, where I go, who I become. And the worst part? There's a live chat feature now, where people comment as they watch, and the top-rated comment just says, "Let's see what happens when he doesn't follow the script." I didn't leave my apartment for 3 days. I nailed boards over the windows with pieces of furniture, taped paper over the vents, put duct tape over every camera I could find, phone, laptop, even the microwave. I left my Wi-Fi unplugged and powered off every smart device in the apartment. My lights stayed off the whole time. I pissed in bottles, ate dry cereal, slept with a butcher knife under my pillow, one eye open, a blanket of dread soaked into my bones. It didn't matter. They still saw me. The fourth morning, I woke up to the sound of something humming. Not music, not a machine. It was human. A low, wet throat hum, like someone trying to recreate a lullaby from memory while forgetting the notes as they went. The sound echoed through my apartment. It was coming from the kitchen. I didn't go in. I couldn't go in. I stood outside the door, holding my knife, every muscle in my body locked. The light in the kitchen was on. I hadn't turned it on. That switch was duct taped shut, and the fridge was open. Inside, sitting where the milk should have been, was a GoPro, recording, facing out. Not one I owned, not one I bought, and its red light was blinking. When I stepped closer, it moved, like something nudged it from behind. Something inside the fridge. I slammed it shut and pushed my entire dining table in front of it. But I could still hear the humming, muffled now, softer, like it had retreated into the walls, the tune repeating over and over, slightly offbeat, like it was taunting me. I ran to my laptop, plugged it in. No internet, obviously. When I opened the browser, the dark web page automatically loaded. Offline. Local. Like it lived in my system now. New interface. No longer surveillance. Now it was a dashboard. Welcome back. Subject. Script. Progress. 74% character file. Unstable. Live vote enabled. There were 3 options. Send him outside. Introduce. Mother. Let him see himself. Below. Each one was a vote count. Thousands of people. Clicking. Choosing what would happen to me. It felt like watching a Twitch stream where I was the streamer, except I had no camera on. Or so I thought. Then I noticed something. Bottom corner. Tiny thumbnail labeled Live Feed Bathroom. I clicked it, and I saw myself, standing at the laptop, from behind. But the webcam on my laptop was covered. My phone was off. No smart mirrors. Nothing. And yet there I was, and in the far corner of the video, just barely in the shadows, was a silhouette, hanging upside down from the ceiling, long arms, fingers wrapped around a pipe, its head twisted sideways, just watching, no movement, just the sound of that humming, and then the live vote updated. Let him see himself. Selected. The video feed changed. It showed me, but not me. It was another version. Same hoodie, same scar on my hand, but his mouth was sewn shut. His eyes were open wide, stretched unnaturally like they had been forced not to blink. He was strapped to a chair in a room I didn't recognize. The walls were covered in foil, like the kind you see in anti-radiation bunkers. Written on every panel were phrases in what looked like crayon. You can't exit a script you didn't write. Your choices were chosen. Someone else bought your tomorrow. The door behind the other me opened. Something walked in. It wasn't a person, not really. It was tall, bald, completely nude, except for a plastic CVS bag over its head. The bag was tied shut around the neck. No holes. It moved like it didn't need air. In its hand was a scalpel, not a knife, not a tool. A surgical scalpel, thin, clean, precise. It walked around the chair, didn't say a word, just took the blade and dragged it slowly across the stitched mouth. Not to free him, to widen it. Blood poured down the other me's chin, but no scream came out. Just a gargling rattle. The thing behind the plastic bag leaned in close and whispered something in his ear. I cranked my volume up. It said, "Make the real one scream too." And then the feed went black. My screen glitched. For a full minute, it was just a blinking green cursor on a black background. Then a new file appeared. "You may enter now.x." I didn't want to open it, but I had to. It launched a VR-style room, a 3D model of a motel. Park Vale Hotel, floor 6, room 609. I clicked through. The room was detailed, too detailed. Coffee stains on the floor, burn marks on the curtains, a faint blood trail leading to the bathroom. I panned the camera over the bed. A person was lying on it. Me, wearing tomorrow's clothes. A new pop-up appeared. "You will arrive in 13 hours. This scene is locked. All variables preset. Do not deviate." Underneath, a live chat appeared. Viewers typing like it was a live stream on YouTube. "He's gonna lose it when he sees what's in the tub. Remember when Carl thought he could block the signal? Elmao. Hope mother eats slow this time." My head started spinning. I couldn't breathe. I slammed the laptop shut. My phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. "Room 609 is ready. Please arrive clean. Do not bring sharp objects. The viewers have paid for silence." I threw my phone across the room, and it shattered. Not just the screen. The whole thing broke apart, like someone had weakened the casing in advance. Then the TV in my room turned on by itself. No signal. Just a word burned into the middle of the screen. "Rehearsal." That night I blacked out. No drugs, no alcohol, just nothing. One moment I was staring at the TV. Next moment, I was waking up in a place I didn't recognize. Concrete floor, dirty mattress, dead phone in my hand. My arm was bruised. When I rolled up my sleeve, there was a hospital-style tag around my wrist, but not a real one, like it had been printed at home. It read, "Actor, you roll, the suffering runtime, until cancellation." I screamed. I kicked the walls. I clawed at the floor until my nails bent backward. No exit, no lock, just watching. I knew there was a camera somewhere. I could feel it, like my skin itched in the places it was watching. And then I saw it, the mirror on the wall. It wasn't a mirror, it was glass, two-way, and behind it, barely lit, were rows of chairs. People, watching me, not moving, not talking, just sitting, wearing fast food uniforms, Starbucks, Panda Express, Wendy's, all perfectly still, all facing forward. One of them raised their hand. A red light blinked. A voice came through a speaker. "Your scene starts now." The walls began to shift. Literally. The back wall slid away, revealing a hallway. Same peeling wallpaper as before. Room numbers. 601, 602, 603. At the end, 609. The hallway was cold. Not physically, but in a way that hurt your thoughts. Like my brain was shivering. As I walked, lights flickered. No footsteps, but mine. Then I reached the door. It opened before I touched it. Inside was the motel room, just like the 3D model. perfectly recreated. The blood on the curtain, the burn marks, the smell of copper and rot in the air. The mattress had plastic under the sheets. I didn't even have time to step in before someone behind me shoved me in and slammed the door shut. I turned. No handle. Then the bathroom light clicked on. There was movement behind the curtain. I stepped back, and that's when the humming started again. But this time, it was my voice. There are certain sounds your brain files away, under never supposed to hear. Bones grinding under skin, human humming played backward, wet breathing when you're completely alone. That's what I heard when the bathroom curtain in room 609 began to ripple. The same humming, only this time, it wasn't just mimicking a lullaby. It was me, humming a song I knew I hadn't sung since I was 10 years old. A stupid little thing I used to hum at night when I was scared of the dark. I hadn't remembered it in over a decade, but someone else did, and they were playing it now. From inside the motel bathroom, the curtain was drawn shut, mold crawling up the edges. The light inside flickered violently, casting warped shadows against the fabric. The smell coming from behind it was unbelievable, like sour meat that had been marinating in metal shavings. My feet felt locked to the floor, but my body kept leaning closer. My fingers started twitching, like I didn't even own them anymore, like I was being dragged forward by a rope I couldn't see. I opened my mouth to say something, anything, and my own voice whispered from behind the curtain, "Don't ruin the take." Then everything stopped. Silence. Not like the kind you get when a room is quiet. This was surgical, a kind of silence that cut the air. I couldn't hear the TV next door, couldn't hear the flicker of the light, even my own heartbeat. Gone. That's when I noticed the lens. Just above the shower rod, buried in the ceiling, was a black camera dome, half the size of a grapefruit, just like the ones you see in Walmart. A red light blinked from inside it, recording, not just watching, but producing, editing, broadcasting. This wasn't surveillance. It was a show, and I was the script. I reached forward and touched the curtain. It felt warm. I pulled it back, and I don't think my mind will ever recover from what I saw. It was me, laying in the tub, still breathing, eyes open, but rotted, like they'd been sitting in bleach, lips torn open into a permanent grin, with black wire holding the corners in place. My chest had been opened, ribs pried apart like insect wings. Inside, tucked into the cavity, like a child hiding under covers, was another face. A human face, not attached to anything, just resting inside the torso, mouth open in an eternal scream. And worst of all, it was blinking. The camera above began to move, whirring, zooming. I stepped back, bile burning my throat. I turned to run, but the door to room 609 was gone. Literally. Not locked, not hidden. It was like it had never been there. The walls had shifted again, the exit erased. The room was sealed. The only light was the flickering from the bathroom. I turned back, and the tub was empty. My double was standing now. No, not standing. Floating, feet hovering 6 inches above the ground, arms twitching like an animatronic, and the wire across the mouth was now pulled tight, digging into the skin so hard that little bits of muscle started to fray out like red thread. He raised a hand, opened it. Inside his palm was my phone, not the broken one. My phone, with the lock screen image I set 2 weeks ago, a selfie from Starbucks. He tapped it once, and the screen came alive. New upload, final take, the ending, Interactive. Votes close in 5 minutes. The double dropped the phone. Then his voice came out of the camera above us, like a broadcast. A PA announcement. Choose how he dies. The bathroom light turned blood red. The screen on the phone updated. Now it displayed 3 options. Same style as before. Heart removal, live performance. Suffocate him with his own voice. Send in mother. Votes began pouring in. Thousands, streaming like a stock ticker. And next to the options were viewer names, not usernames, real names. Names I recognized. My old teacher. A girl I matched with on Tinder but never messaged. My aunt. People I knew. People I didn't know knew me. All voting, choosing, and send in mother was winning. I screamed, pounded the wall, shouted every name I could, but there was no stopping it. The camera's red light flared, and that voice echoed again. Mother is on her way. I don't know what I expected, but I wasn't ready for what I got. The bed in the corner, unused, silent, forgotten, began to move. It didn't shake. It breathed. The mattress bulged upward with the slow rhythm of something massive just beneath the surface. Then it tore open, quietly, like a zipper being undone. She crawled out, not walking, not standing, crawled, naked, pale, skin stretched too tight around bones that weren't human. Her arms were backwards, elbows bending the wrong way. Her head hung like a pendulum, hair dragging across the floor. No eyes, just skin, just lids, stitched shut. Her mouth was gaping open, and from it came that same humming, the same tune, from the beginning. My tune. She was wearing my voice. She crawled up the wall, then across the ceiling, over the camera, and dropped onto me, like a puppet cut from its strings. Her hands, backwards, gripped the sides of my head. I couldn't move. My body didn't belong to me anymore. She leaned in close, whispered, "You shouldn't have watched the trailers," and bit my shoulder, hard, but instead of teeth, her mouth was full of mirrors, tiny shards, sinking into my flesh like ice picks. My blood poured down her throat and came out of her eyes, and inside those bloody tears, I saw something that nearly stopped my heart. Tomorrow's footage. Me, standing in a mall, holding a knife, people screaming, children running, my mouth open, saying something, but the audio is muted, and behind me is every person who voted, standing in line, waiting for their turn to film. There is no sleep now, not even the kind where your body gives up on you. I haven't closed my eyes in 4 days. I'm not tired anymore, just hollow, like my body is still moving, still eating, still pretending to be a person, but I've been watched out of existence. I wasn't supposed to see what I saw. I wasn't supposed to make it past room 609, but something went wrong with their broadcast. I glitched. I woke up in a storage closet in a strip mall, an hour outside of Philly. Floor covered in VHS tapes and cassette players with no power cords. My shirt was soaked in blood, not mine, still warm. Someone, or something, had left a note pinned to my chest with a sewing needle through my skin. You were supposed to obey. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My voice was gone, not hoarse, missing, like it had been harvested out of me. I tried to speak, and only a crackling hiss came out, like tuning into a dead radio station. I staggered out of the building. It was still dark. 4:03 a.m. No one on the streets, but parked right across the lot, under a flickering Arby's sign, was a black, unmarked van. Inside it, a screen, a live feed. Me, from above. It showed me right there, in the parking lot, with a new timestamp. May 6th, now 2025, 4:04 a.m. That's when it updated, in real time. Every second, the counter ticked forward, showing what I was doing before I did it. 1 second ahead, 2, 5, then 10. I moved left. The footage showed me doing it before I even thought to move. I screamed, and the feed glitched. Just for a second. It lagged, and that lag, that tiny delay, was enough to prove something to me. They weren't predicting, they were writing it. My life, every second, like a script being broadcast for the most fucked up subscriber base in existence. I ran, I don't even remember where, through back alleys, empty streets. I ended up downtown, in front of a 24/7 McDonald's that looked off. No music, no employees, just dim lighting, and a single customer inside sitting at a booth, head down, not moving. When I walked in, the overhead speaker started playing old hold music, grainy elevator tunes from the early 2000s. I looked around. The soda machine was unplugged. The ice cream machine had meat in it. No, not like burgers, chunks, raw, still pulsing. The man at the booth lifted his head, and it was me, again. But this time, his face was smiling too hard. His mouth tore at the cheeks. His eyes were pure black, like wet marbles. His shirt was printed with words I couldn't read, not gibberish, not foreign, censored, pixelated in real life, like I was being protected from what it said. He stood up, walked over, handed me a USB stick, and whispered with my stolen voice, "Upload the ending. It's in me now. Whatever they did in that room, whatever mother was, whatever they stitched into my spine, I can feel it. There's a tremor under my skin, like something is chewing through the nerves from the inside." I tried to run. I got as far as a Greyhound station, boarded a bus to nowhere, made it 2 stops before the engine cut out. Driver vanished, not walked off, just gone. His seat still warm, hat left on the dash. I went to the front to look outside. Every single person at the station was staring at the bus, not moving, not blinking, all of them holding up their phones, filming me, and their screens weren't recording. They were playing something. Tomorrow. Me. Being dragged out of that very bus, kicking, screaming, bleeding. A woman stepped forward, wearing a Starbucks apron. She opened her mouth to speak, but her jaw unfolded. Hinges on both sides cracked open, revealing a projector where her throat should have been. It beamed footage onto the side of the bus. The final take. I didn't want to watch. I had to. You have to understand. It's not curiosity. It's compliance. Whatever is running this, it feeds on your surrender. The video showed me walking through Times Square. No one else there. Just me. And TVs everywhere. All showing different versions of me. One laughing, one crying. One ripping his own teeth out with pliers. One trying to claw his way through the screen to get out. I walked up to the middle of the square, where a stage was built. A simple wooden platform with a microphone and a spotlight. Then the narration began, in a voice that didn't sound human, like a stitched-together audio file using scraps of other people's words. Welcome to the last act. Viewer count, 7.3 million. Tonight's performance, the identity collapse. Please remain seated. We paid for this. And then the me on the screen began to change. Face melting, not like acid, digitally, glitching into everyone I've ever known. My mom, my 4th grade teacher, that one Uber driver who told me weird conspiracy stuff. Even you, maybe. If you're reading this, your face was probably in the sequence. That's how they work. They harvest familiarity. The last transformation was him, the yellow coat man. He stepped off the stage, and the screen began to shake like it was panicking, losing control. The final image it broadcast was a file directory, thousands of folders, each one labeled with a real person's name. Kyle, bathroom, cut, feed, .move, mother scene, final loop.mp4, Starbucks incident, main cam, audio fix .move, you final take premiere render, 24 fps, mp4, you final take, alternate ending, mp4, you finale livestream ready, last modified, today, 11:59 p.m. That's tonight. They already know how I die. They have multiple versions. They're letting the viewers pick. They're even choosing the ending that'll be uploaded to the mainstream web. I've seen some of the titles. Self-stabbing in Union Square. Shot by Officer 09213. Public execution style. Live suicide on Twitch, while chat votes the method. Silenced by mother during livestream apology. Dragged into Times Square. Billboard feed loop. Eternal edit. I don't know which one they'll go with, but I do know this. One of the versions, the rejected one, leaked for a second. Not full footage, just the description, metadata. It said, survives, upload story, breaks loop, kills the feed. The view count on that one, 0, until now, because I uploaded this, here. And if you've read this far, you watched it, you're in the footage now. Check your camera roll. Go ahead, swipe to the hidden folder, the one you don't remember creating. There's a video in there, time-stamped for tomorrow. It shows you opening your phone, reading the story, and behind you, someone's already watching. Don't turn around. This is their final take.